Hello, friends. Welcome back to Freckles and Blondie, where we cry and laugh and punch things in the name of our favorite TV show, Lost. We are your hosts. I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Randy.
And today we are discussing the first part of the Season 1 finale, Exodus. It aired May 18th, 2005, and it was directed by Jack Bender, written by Carlton Cuse and Damon Lindelof. So, all our star players, basically.
Yep, all of our favorites here for the finale.
Yes, kind of awesome. I really dig it.
Yeah, same.
Should I just, hit my desk? Apologies in advance, everybody. I sound really hoarse, and I'm probably going to cough and do stuff that sounds bad. I can't help it. I'm drinking tea to kind of make my cold cough thing go away.
Yes.
This is dedication.
Send Tiffany all of your good vibes so she feels better.
I feel totally fine. I just sound awful and keep coughing. So when I'm laughing, but it sounds like I'm coughing, just know everything is fine.
Yeah, when it sounds like you're dying, you're really okay.
But how about this episode, Randy?
It's pretty great. It's an excellent episode.
I totally agree. So good.
Yeah.
Lost is so amazing when it comes to season finales and openers.
Yeah, definitely.
I came to seriously expect great things from all of their beginnings and, endings.
Yeah. Yeah, and for some reason, this finale, because it's technically in 3 parts, it kind of had jumbled all together in my mind because I haven't watched it for a while.
Yeah, me too.
I was kind of expecting this first part to be kind of the slow, they're working their way into the last 2 parts, but it's excellent. It's so well done. It's so good.
Yeah, I feel like it is slow and it is the baby step into the rest of the finale, but it's very purposeful and thoughtful and really well done. When I say slow, I don't mean boring. I just mean they take their time and it doesn't feel forced. Kind of like the pilot. I feel like the pilot was that way too, where it was just we know what we're doing, we're really confident, and we're just going to take however long we need to do this. And for Lost, it was 3 hours for this finale, which was probably really unheard of with other shows. I feel like they never did that.
Yeah, especially not in the first season. So
yeah,
I agree. It's very emotional.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of the last scene. It makes me want to cry.
I'm thinking of 6 scenes in this episode that make me want to cry.
Yeah.
But yeah, that last scene, absolutely.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this whole hour could stand alone. It could be its own episode if they just wanted to call it something else.
Yeah, I agree.
So good. But again, I haven't watched the next part yet, so maybe after I see the next part, I won't feel that way. Oh my gosh, my voice sounds so bad.
It's okay.
I sound like I'm crying. Maybe it's fitting that I've lost my voice for this episode.
Exactly. It just made you too emotional. You were too into it.
Yeah. I'm just lying, guys. I'm actually really emotional about all of this. I didn't lose my voice at all. All right, so our title, Exodus. Let us talk about that. So, an exodus is obviously a departure, which I'm sure everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we literally have the departure of the raft. But Exodus also has really heavy religious implications. In the Old Testament, the book of Exodus comes directly after Genesis. So as we transition from season 1 into season 2, we're kind of calling to this biblical transition as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, definitely cool for them to make that connection, especially with I feel like we've gotten a couple of previous biblical connections this season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Hurley's episode was titled Numbers, which obviously referred to, the cursed numbers that he's been dealing with for a while, but that's also a book in the Old Testament.
Numbers?
Mm-hmm. It's Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. So it's the 4th book.
Man, they are just not playing around.
I know.
I've never seen, like, any other show that plays with religious ideas as much as this one does.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's a really challenging thing to do without, like, making it feel, like, too religious and off-putting to some people or, like, offensive to other people. I just feel like they manage something really difficult really gracefully and really subtly.
Yeah, it's not, like, in your face. It's just kind of in the background. It's well done.
Yeah, it really is. It adds, like, I don't know, it kind of adds, like, a gravity to everything just because it's sprinkled in and, you know that we're here to deal with, like, big life issues.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Let's get into the episode. Previously on Lost, so much stuff happened. Saeed found the crazy French chick who also hears voices in the jungle. Michael built a raft/yacht. And Arzt rolled in to tell everyone that they should have left yesterday to avoid monsoon season. Thanks for telling us now, dude. It's the night before the plane leaves, and Michael and Walt are in a hotel room enjoying some 5 a.m. Power Rangers. Michael likes sleeping at 5 a.m., and he didn't realize that having children means you have to sacrifice your sleep. So a fight ensues, leading to Walt shouting, "You're not my father." And I love in this episode that we are just kind of visiting all these characters on the day of the plane departure. It's such a nice, like, callback to the pilot.
Yeah, and it just adds so many interesting layers to all of these characters who we've slowly gotten to know over the course of the first season.
Yes, I feel like it's a very good reminder of how far we've come in just this short amount of time.
Yeah.
Because this is not Walt and Michael who we know now.
Definitely.
Like, Walt would not shout this at Michael today.
Yeah, they've come a really long way in just a couple of months. It's nice to see that growth between the two of them.
Definitely. On the island, it's early morning, and Walt sees Rousseau walking through the jungle, approaching camp. When she sees him back, he screams for help, waking everyone else. Saeed tells everyone that it's okay, but Rousseau stares at Claire and the baby intently. She looks back at Saeed and tells him the others are coming. We cut to the title sequence. I feel like it's Rousseau who really introduces the term of the others.
Yeah.
And that's going to be like a phrase that we throw around a lot in the future.
Yeah, and it already has just this creepy connotation with it. I feel like because it's coming from her and she's kind of a wild card.
Yeah, definitely. And the way she says it.
Yeah. I love this opening scene. It's one of my favorites. It's just, it's so eerie the way she's walking through the jungle and Walt is watching her and like tracking her and everyone's sleeping. Yeah. I like it a lot.
And there's something just wrong about Rousseau walking through their camp. Like, she just doesn't belong here. And
yeah. And
it's
she's
just
carrying
kind
a gun,
of startling.
So, yeah.
Sure. And she comes heavily armed.
Yeah.
As you do.
Right.
I love Rousseau, too. She's a great character.
Yeah, definitely.
You know exactly who she is, which is so wonderful. Because she doesn't get a lot of time with us, but she's just always great.
Yeah, she's not messing around. She's not saying, like, she always says what she means to say, what she feels, like.
Yeah, true.
Unlike some people on this island, but.
Unlike pretty much everyone on this island. Yeah. If you're not Hurley, you're probably mincing your words.
Exactly.
Rousseau tells her life story to the whole camp. She describes how she saw a pillar of black smoke a week after having her baby and how they came and took her baby that night. She says now they're coming again and they can run, hide, or die. Because she's not messing around.
It's so dramatic.
This is just Rousseau. This is just how she talks.
Yeah. It's great. I love it.
Jack and Locke are discussing Rousseau's fun story. Jack thinks she's crazy, but Locke says it could possibly be true. Jack says he has to focus on what's tangible, and that's the raft. He asks Michael what he's going to need to get the raft in sailing condition today, And Michael says that they need everybody's help. So Jack is on the case.
I love how Jack is so skeptical of this whole Rousseau's whole story.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, that's nice, lady. We're building a raft today.
Right. It's like,
I've got other things on the agenda today.
Yeah, it's like, there's other people on this island. Like, you've met them, or one of them at least. You've seen them. But he's like, no, thank you.
Right. I mean, I guess Rousseau is not the most credible person, but, she seems pretty worried for someone as badass as she is.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like super keeping an eye on Jack now as our man of action because like I came to that realization in the last episode and I was thinking about it while I watched this one and it's so him. He's just gonna do,
Yeah.
Even when like sometimes it's maybe like not the best plan, he's just compelled to like take action and do it now.
Yeah, that's like a very important character trait of his. So
yeah,
I like that you pointed that out.
I've never thought about him that way. So I'm going to keep my eye on that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Soon enough, Jack has a crew of extra irrelevant characters, and they're all pitching in with our main crew. There's a lot of awkward eye contact between all of our tempestuous couples. Saeed and Shannon, Sawyer and Kate, and Sun and Jin.
Sawyer and Kate are not a couple, but continue.
They're tempestuous, and they are a couple of people, Randy, okay?
I know, I was just being difficult. Please go on.
But everyone pushes, pulls, and uses all their strength to get the raft into the ocean. But it doesn't quite get in. And, of course, it is instantly Sawyer's fault, according to Michael. But none of this matters now, as they all see the black pillar of smoke that Rousseau had described.
It's such an iconic shot when they are looking at that black smoke.
It really is. Oh, it's so scary.
Yeah, it reminds me of, I feel like we haven't had, well, first of all, the fact that everyone's actually working together on something is kind of nice, even if it's just for like 30 seconds.
Oh, you're so right. I didn't even think about that, but you're so right.
Yeah, but it reminds me of the shots we used to get of all of them in the beginning of the season. Like when they heard something in the jungle and they were still all on the beach. Like it feels very nostalgic to me. I don't know if that's the right word, but.
No, you're so right. I think like I've always felt like season 1 is my favorite season. And I think the part of it is just the simplicity of everyone being together. And it's like all our main characters interacting. And later on, we're still going to have these characters, but they're going to kind of spread out a little bit more. And it's just kind of sad.
Yeah.
Even while they're doing fun stuff and it's like storylines I enjoy. You're right. It's like nostalgic to see everybody on the beach together.
Right. Working together, figuring stuff out together. Yeah. I like it a lot.
It's so good. Gosh. This is a great episode.
It is.
Rousseau ain't messing around anymore after seeing that pillar. She is loading her gun, and she asks where they all intend to hide when the others come. Funny enough, we have a great place for that. It's called Locke's Secret Super Hatch Hangout. And he is going to let Rousseau in on his secret, because I guess girls are allowed if they are armed and badass. Saeed reiterates that this is all a terrible, terrible, terrible idea, and they shouldn't react without more intelligence, because he's our man of logic.
Yep.
He says this hatch could be the others, for crying out loud. Don't be crazy, Saeed. Locke asks Rousseau if she has any more explosives, and she says it's at Black Rock in the Dark Territory. Hurley is super not thrilled to hear that, and I'm not even sure why he's been invited to Locke's secret hangout, except that they're going to need him there later on.
Because it's Hurley. You just invite him to everything.
Why Hurley? Why is Hurley there? That just kind of bugged me. Like, I love Hurley. I'm happy enough that he's there, but there's no reason for him to be there.
I kind of feel like he's the group liaison. So when serious things are going down, they're like, let's bring Hurley. And maybe, if he's not as surprised, then people will be more chill about it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. That doesn't make sense. But.
Like, he can inform everybody else on the beach what's going down with the hatch?
Yeah, like if they came back and they just announced the hatch and Hurley was on the other side, maybe people would be freaking out more. But if Hurley comes back with them and he's like, yeah, I just saw this thing, you know, maybe people would be more chill about it because it's Hurley. And
that's true. Hurley should be the deliverer of all information.
Yeah, I think so.
People would get a lot less angry.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you can't get mad at Hurley.
I know.
It's just impossible.
The best. But yeah, I don't know why they're not listening to Saeed here.
I know. It's like suddenly he doesn't matter.
Oh, gosh.
He's just in the background, always like, this is a bad idea.
Right.
Pretty bad idea.
And I'm just screaming at the TV. I'm like, yes, it is a bad idea. Please just listen to Saeed for once.
Poor dude. He tried.
Yeah. Also, I'm not, like, when they bring Rousseau to the hatch, it seems like they expect her to be, like, an expert on it, I guess since she's been on the island for so long.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm not sure what they thought she would know about the hatch. Like, if she knew about it, wouldn't she be using it for shelter or something?
Yeah. Well, maybe she would have found something like the hatch somewhere else.
Good point.
That they're thinking of. I mean, she's pretty much the island expert as far as they're concerned, so yeah. I kind of get them taking her there.
That's true.
We flash back to Jack in the airport bar. He meets a woman who introduces herself as being a fellow passenger. She asks about Jack's father dying. She overheard him yelling at an airport worker about it. She asks if he's single, and when he says yes, he's not married anymore, we know that things didn't work out with Sarah. He orders Ana Lucia, whose name we now know, another drink, and she says she's sitting in the back of the plane, but she hates flying. Her phone rings and she has to take the call, but she wants to get another drink with Jack on the plane. He looks intrigued as she walks away. So, hello, Ana Lucia.
Yes, this is our introduction to her.
We will see Ana Lucia again.
Yes.
It's gonna be great.
No spoil. Yeah, it's gonna be so great. I feel like I immediately don't like her, but I don't know if I just can't separate what I know is going to happen with her. But no, I don't like her.
Yeah, I don't like her as a character, but this introduction, I don't have any problem with her. Like, she seems perfectly nice here.
It's just so weird. Like, she sits down next to Jack, a complete stranger, asks him about his dead dad, which she overheard, like, some kind of confrontation he was having at the front desk, and then proceeds to flirt with him. It's like, what are you doing? What normal person would sit down next to someone in an airport and do that?
Yeah, it's pretty aggressive.
Yeah, that's one word for it. It's almost rude. Like,
she's like, you seem real emotional. I would like to get in on that.
Right. Your dad clearly just died a few days ago. Do you want to go out on a date? Like, what? No, leave me alone. I don't know you.
But Jack seems like pretty into it.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't get it.
The only thing that really bugs me about this scene is that it doesn't feel like the Ana Lucia that we're going to get later. She feels very different, and it's a little hard to talk about because we don't want to spoil what will happen with her, but she just seems like really sweet.
Yeah.
And that's not a word I would use to describe Ana Lucia.
No. I feel like some of the things she goes through maybe are an explanation for that. Like, she goes through some stuffs, maybe that, I don't know.
But even so, like, she, like, later on, she's a tough girl, and she doesn't seem, like, very tough here. She just feels like, I don't know, kind of your typical meet a girl in a bar situation.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe when they wrote this scene, they were thinking they were going to go another way with her character, and they changed their minds later on.
Maybe.
Because you're right, it feels weird with what we get from her later.
Yeah. And I feel like Michelle Rodriguez is great, and she's plays her well in both instances. It's two different characters.
Yeah. Yeah, my dislike of Ana Lucia has nothing to do with the actress who plays her.
No, she's great.
Yeah, I just don't know.
Also, I think it's interesting how we're kind of dropping in all these hints at Jack turning to alcohol when he's, like, emotionally traumatized, or not even traumatized, but just when he's having a hard time.
Yeah.
We're kind of, like, dropping those in. Like, we saw this the night before his wedding when he couldn't write his vows. He was, like, drinking by the pool. And here he is at the bar the day after his dad died. Or is it the day after?
Yeah, a day or two after, yeah.
But, yeah, I like how we're doing that. I like how we're, like, slowly building this Jack turns to alcohol story.
Yeah, it's subtle, but it's definitely worrying. It's definitely there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when you know his dad struggles with alcohol, so when you see Jack kind of leaning on it the way we have, it's kind of worrying.
Right.
Jack leaves instructions for everyone, being vague about what's going on in the jungle with the A-Team. He wants everyone to help Michael with the raft, and when that's done, to hide at the caves. Arst, however, comes running up to Jack after the speech, knowing all about the plan to blow up the hatch, because, for some reason, we brought Hurley along to that. Arst thinks this plan sucks, and he wants to help with the dynamite, because no one else will know how to. Okay. I don't know how teaching high school science means you know how to handle dynamite, but alright.
Yeah, I mean, look at Walter White in Breaking Bad. He knew how to make meth, and he taught high school science, so...
Yeah, but he wasn't supposed to be a high school science teacher. He was actually a chemist.
Fair point.
Whatever. We'll roll with it, Arst.
Yeah.
But,
I don't like him, but, I mean,
yeah,
I don't
he's
think
kind of annoying.
You're supposed to like him, so.
No. Yeah, but I think we get great leadership from Jack in this episode.
Okay.
Like, I like this scene, and I like the way he's talking to people. He's leading without dominating.
Yeah. When he's, like, on it, he's so good at it.
Yeah, like, it's like, if he's not emotionally invested in it, he can do it.
Yeah.
But when he's, like, personally involved, he can't be a good leader. He's just, like, too, like, emotionally clouded, I guess.
Yeah.
But he's, like, calm and cool with all this, and it's, like, exactly what people need. He, like, gives them, like, a straightforward plan. And it's, like, this is the leadership that he's capable of.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. I feel like at least for me, I feel like he's a good leader more than he lets emotions take over for him. But, yeah, I really like this. I really like this side of him.
I think, like, the way Jack comes off is very dependent on who is writing the episode. Mm-hmm. And I think Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse have a good handle on how to do him. I mean, they have a great handle on all these characters. This episode is just great. Like, I think every character comes across great.
Yeah, even Sawyer. We get great Sawyer in this episode.
Even Sawyer.
We
get amazing Sawyer in this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you're right. It must have a lot to do with the writers.
Yeah, and I feel like we're kind of trying to contrast, who they were before the crash and who they are now. And we're seeing growth in pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
Which is so nice.
It is so nice. Oh, this episode is so good.
Speaking of Sawyer is offering his services to help repair the raft. But apparently Michael and Jen have their own secret language now, and they don't want his help. In a flashback, Sawyer is back in the police station talking to the police officer who once upon a time could not help Boone. Apparently Sawyer was recently in a bar fight, and he headbutted the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, and Forestry. Sawyer says that he headbutted him first, but the officer says witnesses will say otherwise. He goes on to list the offenses on Sawyer's record: assault, wire fraud, identity theft. He tells him he's a con man. How does he live with himself? He's not even worth what it would cost to incarcerate him, so they're just gonna deport him instead. Poor Sawyer.
Yeah, I actually, when he's on the island and he's trying so hard to help with the raft and Michael's not having any of it, like, I feel bad for him.
I know.
It's
and then
weird.
we've got this flashback, and I feel like this flashback is a 30-second window into the story of his life, where people are like, you are horrible, you are not worth my time, so goodbye. And, like, that's the watered-down version of what he's getting on the island, where everyone's like, oh, the raft broke. Sawyer, you suck. Like, he didn't do anything.
Yeah, but
he's trying to help right now, and everyone's like, go away, Sawyer. And he's like, God, I'm trying to be a good person. Let me.
I mean, again, when you spend 95% of the time being an asshole, it's
he does
hard
not
to come...
spend 95% of his time being an asshole.
90% of the time. It's hard to come back from that. Like, it's hard to get that trust back. But he is trying.
Describe how he's being an asshole. I'm just trying to understand.
Oh, I'm not talking...
What do you mean?
I'm talking about, throughout all of season 1.
Yeah, like, what kind of stuff are you talking about? Other than the pilfering the stuff.
Being racist to Saeed and other people. Confidence man, yeah. Like, pretending... Lying about Shannon's inhalers. Stealing stuff off dead bodies. Stealing stuff from the fuselage. Hoarding the alcohol when he knows Jack might need it for... Like, all that stuff, which I know you probably don't have a problem with. All that is just being... And we talked about this. Like, he's doing it to punish himself because he feels like he deserves it. But still, I mean... And again, I do give him credit here. I feel bad for him. He's trying so hard. And I was
just trying to, I was trying to pull out, if you meant, the way he talks to people, because he's so sarcastic and he has a nickname for everybody. I didn't know if that's what you meant by being an asshole.
No, I mean, I meant more about, his actions toward people.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I totally know what you mean. And I think that all that stuff is first half of season 1. And second half of season 1, he's been great. He's been trying to help.
Okay.
He has. Okay. What has he done second half?
Go on.
It's been all second half. He's just been helpful. And it's basically... Why are you laughing, Randy?
Because I would never describe him as being helpful through the second half. But...
Well, all right. Helpful could be generous. You're right. He's been helpful sometimes, and he hasn't been...
A complete monster.
I guess. I feel like he's been more part of the community. That's a better way of phrasing it. Ever since Kate kind of pulled him in, I think he's been, he's talked with people and he's making his baby steps.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, to me, when I think about Sawyer, I feel like he starts really low and then he gets lower and then he slowly starts to go up. But I feel like it takes a while for him to get there. Do you know what I mean?
You feel like he gets lower? Like right now he's lower?
No, I'm just thinking about his whole arc throughout the whole show.
Oh.
I feel like for me personally, maybe this is spoiling, maybe I'll cut it out. But for me, it's not until season 5 where I really start to see the potential in him. Okay, I can get on board with you now.
Oh.
For me, even though in this episode he's trying, I just don't think his character is there quite yet. But
yeah, see, I feel like this flashback with him is kind of, it's just so representative of the struggle he faces, where he's like, this guy hit me in a bar, and I hit him back, but because he's a more powerful person than me, I'm gonna get screwed over for it. And that's just, his life of injustice. That's the way it is, and he expects life to be that way.
Yeah, it's true, but... Again, he brings so much of this on himself. When that cop is reading off all of his, all the things he's done, identity theft, he's a con man, blah, blah, blah. What else is he supposed to think? And he's just so cocky about it too, which I kind of love in this flashback scene, but...
He definitely is cocky.
Yeah. So complicated.
So true. It's so true. Yes. Sawyer. Back on the island, Sawyer is chopping down trees when Jack approaches and hands him Chekhov's gun for the raft, just in case. And for those who don't know, Chekhov's gun is a phrase in storytelling that implies that every element of a story should be completely necessary. So if we are specifically taking the time to hand Sawyer this gun, Sawyer is going to use this gun. And if he doesn't, that is just poor storytelling.
So glad you explained that. Had no idea what that was.
Yeah. Remember the episode where we suddenly saw, tons of Ethan McSketchy?
Yeah.
And at the end, we're like, oh, he's the one who's been attacking Claire this entire episode.
Yeah.
If he hadn't been attacking Claire, then that would have been written really poorly because there was no reason to feature Ethan so much in that episode.
Okay.
So, Jack handing Sawyer this gun is this super dark foreshadowing moment that there's going to be with a gun.
Right, because he's the only one who has a gun on the raft, so, yeah.
Right. It's just like, I don't know why you would need this on the raft, but just in case, here we go. And as soon as he says that, I'm like, all right, when's Sawyer going to have to shoot something?
Yeah. We'll probably never see this again, but just in case.
Exactly. But before we get to any shooting, we have some emotional gut-wrenching to do. Sawyer tells Jack that if he's off to help with the boomsticks, then this is goodbye. And Jack's like, okay, yeah, bye, dude. But Sawyer stops him to tell a nice story. He tells Jack about his encounter with Christian in Sydney. As he describes what happened at the bar, Jack realizes that Sawyer's describing his father and their relationship. Sawyer tells him, kids are like dogs, and if you knock them around enough, they'll think that they did something to deserve it. Jack says nothing, and he continues, saying that Christian wished he was brave enough to call Jack and apologize and tell him what a great doctor he is, that he's proud and he loves him. Jack begins to cry, and Sawyer finishes by saying, good luck, Jack. And how can you not adore Sawyer after this scene?
Oh, God, this scene. It's the best scene in the episode. It's one of my, yes, absolutely. It's one of my favorite scenes in this entire season. I love it so much.
It is wonderful. It's completely perfect.
Yeah. And yeah, I love that Sawyer tells Jack about this. Like, it's such an unselfish thing for him to do. Like, he doesn't
it is.
He doesn't get anything out of it.
I know.
It's like, oh, why can't he be like this all the time? I love it so much.
Sawyer wants to be part of this community, and it's hard for him. It is hard for him to be vulnerable. And you're right. Like, if he just was like this more often, it'd be so much easier for everyone to accept him. But he struggles with it. But God, it's so beautiful when he just, like, lets it out.
It really is. And it's like, it's also, I feel like we've said this before about Sawyer, but he's very insightful when it comes to reading people.
Yeah.
Like, just the way he talks about Jack and the relationship he had with his dad. Like, Sawyer's so smart. I mean, he only had one conversation with Christian at a bar. And like, I feel like he observed so much from that, and then from knowing Jack on the islands, like, he just read it completely correctly.
Just watching the way Jack is, he could put the pieces together and see exactly what kind of relationship they had.
Yeah. And like, oh, I could talk about this scene for like an hour. It's so good.
I know. And I feel like they're bonding over this, like when he talks about how kids are like dogs and if you kick them around enough, they'll think it's their fault. Like, that's the story of both their childhoods, you know, to like different extents and in different ways, obviously.
So true.
But he sees that Jack struggled and he knows that he struggled. So he's gonna like give Jack this closure that he can't have himself.
Yeah. Again, so unselfish. It makes me wish the two of them were friends in a different world. I feel like they could be.
Kate, you need to go.
Yeah. Yeah, forget about Kate. I just want to watch the two of them be friends.
I take it back. I'll take Kate over Jack.
Can you imagine a show where the two of them met when they were like really young, when they were kids, and they had bonded about like the shitty childhoods each of them had? Oh, that would have been so cute. Oh my God. I don't know what's happening. This scene is amazing though.
It's so good. This is the best of both these characters. That's why we love it so much.
It is. And I love Jack's response too. Like, he doesn't say much, but the way he plays it is so heartbreaking.
Yeah. I don't feel like he says hardly anything, but he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
Like, he just reacts, and it's so great.
Yeah. I love this scene. I watched it like 4 times, crying each time I watched it. It's so good.
Favorite scene in the episode, huh?
Absolutely. Favorite scene. in possibly the whole first season. This is definitely the highest point for Sawyer as far as I'm concerned. So, like, I love it so much.
Me too, actually. I think it's his highest point so far. It's not my favorite scene with him, but I think you're right. I think it's, like, morally, this is his highest point. This whole episode, really.
Yeah, because he's great in this episode.
He does no wrong in this episode. He's just trying to help everybody.
I know, it's, like, so bizarre and amazing.
It's not bizarre, Randy. He's not that bad.
I guess. All my notes about Sawyer in this episode are like, what is happening? Who is this person? Where did he come from?
Who's this person I'm now in love with? This is crazy. In a flashback, the marshal is checking his case of guns, trying to explain why he needs so many. He taunts Kate with Tom's toy plane, and he explains to this random security guard Kate's entire criminal history, leaving out the minor detail of why she's wanted in the first place. We reiterate that Kate has no attachments to anyone or anything except this toy plane. He asks what Tom's name is again, and Kate loses it, attacking the marshal, and he says, "This is why I need 5 guns."
Poor Kate.
Yeah. Dude's just taunting her. It's kind of terrible.
Yeah.
I think 5 guns is still overkill.
I agree. I mean, she's one person.
Like, you just subdued her right now without a gun at all. So, I don't think you need 5, but I guess it's nice for us on the island that you brought 5.
Right. Creates conflict, so there's that.
That's the real reason we have 5.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the scene is very impactful, especially after last week's episode.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, it is.
Because you have that new knowledge of what the plane means.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, we knew this after last week, but you know she's never going to get over Tom's death. That's going to haunt her for the rest of her life.
Yeah, true. And this guy's just rubbing it in her face.
Yeah.
Real awesome. On the beach, Kate asks Jack if she can come help with the dynamite. She doesn't want to be there when the raft launches. She's not good at goodbyes. Charlie is collecting messages from everyone to their loved ones for the raft. Locke has no message to give, and Hurley's is extremely private. Who did Hurley write to? Like this. I was like, who did he write? I want to know.
That's a good question.
Jack says goodbye to everyone on the raft. Kate looks around, trying to find Sawyer before she goes, but he's not around, and it's time to blow some shiz up. Rousseau, Locke, Jack, Hurley, Arst, and Kate begin the trek to the Black Rock. Eventually, they reach the Dark Territory, where Rousseau says her team began to get sick. Arst is pretty freaked, but they continue on.
I was going to say, it's a little sad that Kate didn't get to say goodbye to Sawyer.
I know,
although
it's so sad.
I'm still not sure after last week why she would really want to, but you can tell that it's just sad.
Yeah, there are a lot of, like, Sawyer and Kate really don't talk in this episode.
Right.
But there are so many Sawyer and Kate moments where you can tell they want to. Mm-hmm. When they're pushing the raft earlier, they both are just making all this awkward eye contact. On the beach, Kate is looking for him, and then later he'll be looking for her. We just have like this really nice 3-beat of them trying to connect and not being able to.
Yeah.
It's really subtle and really, really well done.
Yeah, so many little subtle moments in this episode that make it really great.
Yeah, so good.
I love the music when they're crossing over the rocks on their way to the Black Rock.
Yeah.
Like, the music in this episode is stunning, but
it is out of this world amazing.
It's just ridiculous. It's so good.
Like, one of the greatest soundtracks ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Michael Giacchino is a genius. But it's like, I feel like whenever they use that theme, it's almost like they're, like, I've named it that it's the Discovery theme of Lost. Like, I feel like whenever they're, like, hiking to somewhere new, they use that theme, and I love it.
Yeah. And I can always call that to mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Sawyer has brought Jen and Michael their perfect mast, and they seem pleased, which pleases Sawyer. Everything is just good to go for the raft. uh-oh, it's raining in the jungle with our A-team. So you know doom follows.
Yep. It's almost comical. I'm sorry. It's almost funny how bad things happen. Like, it immediately starts pouring without fail.
It's like, if you haven't noticed by now that when it's raining, things are going to get bad, you're not paying attention.
Yeah, you're really not.
Art starts screaming, "Run!" as we hear the mechanical, horrible screeching noises from the monster. Everyone panics and runs, but Locke grabs Hurley and tells him to be still. Rousseau leads the others into a tree, but the monster has turned to go the other way. Locke smiles and continues walking because he is John Locke. When Kate asks Rousseau what it is, she says it's a security system to protect the island. So I guess basically it's what the island needed before John Locke arrived. So what did you think of this security system?
Yeah, I found it fascinating that I think this is the first time they've introduced that as a concept for the monster in the jungle.
Yeah, I think so. And the way she says it, it makes it feel man-made.
Yeah.
And I think before I always kind of felt like it was sort of mystical.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it just makes me think that it connects you with the others. Like, maybe they put it there to protect the island.
Yeah.
But I love the way she says it too. Like, she's almost like, duh, of course it's a security system. Like, didn't you know that? It's like, no.
Jesus, how long have you been here?
Exactly.
Pay attention.
I love her.
Yeah, I feel like the monster, like the thing that has always like intrigued me about it is it man-made? Is it mechanical? Is it magical? What is it?
Mm-hmm,
You know, like that's always been what like interested me about it. So this new information is so crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's very intriguing. And it's perfect the way that Locke just kind of waits for it to come.
Yes. God, I love him so much. He's like, oh, impending doom? I'm gonna stand here and watch it happen.
Yeah. Hurley's like, dude. And he's like, chill out. I got this.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I run this place.
Right.
I don't know if you know, but I got it taken care of.
Yeah. Everyone else is like running, screaming. Locke is just like out for a stroll. Like, he's totally chill.
He smiles. Like, he's just having a good time. He's like, cool, I've got more people to run around the jungle with.
Exactly.
This is great.
It's just a normal day for me.
Not a lot of Locke in this episode, unfortunately, but every time I see him, I'm happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like maybe this is implied, but I should just mention that Ars is just the worst.
Sure.
He's terrible. The way he's just like, because before he comes running, screaming through the jungle about the monster, as soon as they get to wherever they're going, I forget what happens. He's like, all right, just be careful with that dynamite. Like, I'm leaving. Like, you volunteered to come. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Ugh, so annoying.
Yeah, he's a frustrating character. I feel like no time was spent on him, making him interesting. He's just there to be antagonistic and sort of comedic and ultimately just kind of dispensable.
Very dispensable.
I mean, sorry guys. If you're attached to Arst, I didn't mean to ruin that for you.
Yeah, all you Arst fans out there, don't get too attached.
But yeah, I just feel like from the get-go, they're like, all right, this guy doesn't really matter, so we're just going to make him kind of annoying.
Yep.
On the beach, we finally get some time with Shannon after everything that she's been through recently. She looks very sad, and Walt approaches and asks her to take Vincent. He says that he'll take care of her like he took care of him when his mom died. Vincent is a good listener, and Shannon could talk to him about Boone. Shannon tears up and agrees to take care of Vincent, but only until Walt gets them rescued. I love this scene.
Oh, it's so adorable.
It's so sweet.
Yeah.
I love non-murder rampage Shannon.
Yeah, it's nice to see her again.
Yeah. Welcome back, Shannon. And Walt is just so sweet and innocent and just completely earnest.
Yeah, and it's like Walt and Shannon don't have anything in common except for the fact that they've both lost people that they've loved recently. And you can see how hard this is for Walt to give up his dog like that. Like, oh.
And it's so thoughtful of him.
Yeah.
Like, Walt enjoys spending time with Locke and Hurley, so he, a normal kid, I feel like, would just give the dog to someone he likes, like them.
Right.
But he thinks, like, Shannon's in pain, and Vincent could help her. And it's just, like, such a sweet, thoughtful thing for a kid to do.
Ugh. Why is this episode so emotional? Doesn't make any sense.
Lost, they just build you up so they can tear you down again.
They really do.
In a flashback, Shannon is in the airport reading and doing a really horrible job of watching Saeed's bags for him. She and Boone argue over how to get their tickets changed to first class, and Boone tells her that one day she'll appreciate everything he does for her. Then, to prove to Boone just how capable and evil she is, she gets Saeed in major trouble with security with her racial profiling.
God.
Telling security that an Arab man left a suitcase and just walked away.
Oh, this scene.
It's such a good reminder of how far we've come.
Yeah, I know that's what they're trying to do with all of these flashbacks, but I've said before, I'm not Shannon's biggest fan, and I still struggle to see her as anyone but this annoying, selfish person that she is in this scene. It's hard.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes me hate Saeed and Shannon, too, their whole relationship. Like, does Saeed not remember that Shannon was the one who, abandoned his bag and I'm assuming got him in trouble at the airport?
Probably not.
I guess so, but man, it's just awful.
It is pretty terrible. But I like the growth. I just feel like it cements to me how much she has changed. Because she's not like this at all anymore.
I mean, yes, that is true, I suppose. No, it's true. It also just cements...
Randy, remember when you liked Shannon and Saeed and you said that they were cute together?
I've got to keep holding on to that.
Remember those good feelings you had at one point?
Distant memory, but yes. I do remember that. But yeah, it also just... it just cements the fact that Shannon and Boone's relationship was so toxic. Like, they really brought out the worst in each other all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's so true. And if we think back to that episode where Boone thought Shannon had died and he said it was a relief.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it will be a relief for Shannon eventually. Like, obviously she's still grieving, as she should be, but eventually she'll take a step back and realize that this toxic relationship is gone.
Yeah. And if not, maybe Locke can come along with some helpful mystery paste and help her reach that conclusion.
I bet he would. He seems like a really helpful kind of guy like that.
Yep. Super helpful.
Saeed explains to Michael how to use Chekhov's radar and Chekhov's radio transmitter, which he has prepared for the raft. He shows them how to use the flare gun and reminds them to choose wisely when to shoot it. So this scene is basically just foreshadowing.
Major foreshadowing.
The A-Team has arrived at the Black Rock, and apparently it's just a random ship that somehow wound up in the middle of the jungle. In the airport, Jin is complaining at how long it took Sun to get their food. Sun overhears some people in English criticizing their relationship, but Sun is smart enough to just ignore it. Poor Sun, I bet that happened to her so many times, and nobody even knew it.
It's awful. Also, when I watch the scene... all I can think of is, like, this is why people hate Americans all over the world.
I know, I think that too.
You know what? Because, like, it's just, they're so arrogant. And, of course, they assume that no one but them speaks English. And it's just like, ugh.
They're like, right, they don't look like me, so they probably don't speak English.
Right. I'm automatically better than them because I'm American and they're not. Like,
Shannon is upstairs describing Saeed as Arab.
Exactly.
And Arab, like...
Jesus.
Yep,
guys.
This is why people hate Americans.
Yeah. We're not all like this, guys. All of our foreign listeners. We're not all this bad.
Just like half of us.
Yeah. Exactly.
On the island, Sun hands Jin a notebook. She's made him the most thoughtful gift. It's a dictionary of phonetically spelled English words so that he can communicate on the raft. Jin begins to cry and tell her he's sorry. She says she's sorry too, and that he doesn't have to go. He says he does have to go, that he's in this place because he's being punished for making her suffer. She doesn't deserve any of this, and he wants to save her. They cry, and they hug, and they say they love each other, and hearts break everywhere.
Oh, God. It's like this episode is trying to emotionally break me. It's so beautiful and sad. Oh.
I know. I just want someone else to take his place on the raft, please.
I know.
Like, no. I'm sorry. If my husband said this to me, I'd be like, no. No. Like, you're not going on the raft. I'm sorry. Like, I'm putting my foot down. I know you think you're trying to be helpful, but please let someone else do it.
Yeah, and it's so sad because, like he says in the scene, the reason is he feels guilty. Like, he feels like he's being punished for what he did to Sun.
Yeah, he's like trying to make amends by getting her off the island.
Which is so sad. Oh, God. And it's like they're finally talking and Jin apologizes. It's so sweet.
It is. And really, we shouldn't have someone take his place because he's the most useful person there.
Very true.
We can't replace the fisherman, for Christ's sake.
I know. The only one who knows what they're doing. The one whose father is, like, on a boat every day. So.
Right. So, like, it does make some sense, but it just makes me so sad.
Yeah. Also, this scene just makes you think of, like, everything they're going to go through in this whole show, and it makes you want to jump off a cliff.
Yeah, basically. To put it lightly, yeah.
No spoilers, but good God.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone says their goodbyes, including an awkward one between Sun and Michael. Sawyer looks around for Kate, the only one that he would really say goodbye to, but of course she's not there. Everyone pushes, and then the raft sets sail to much jubilation and applause. Vincent tries to swim after his master, and it's oddly emotional.
So emotional.
The soundtrack is absolutely ridiculous. This entire scene is an absolute emotional knife to the heart as we watch Jin, Michael, Walt, and Sawyer sail away. We cut to a quick shot of the black smoke pillar to remind us that as sunny and hopeful as this feels right now, this is lost, and soon enough it will be raining and tragedy will strike again.
Yeah. Yeah, emotional knife to the heart. That's a perfect way to describe this scene.
It is. It's like such a weird mix of feelings. It's like so beautiful. It's so happy. Everyone's excited.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, it's so scary. You're like, this could be the last time you see these guys again. Like, God knows what's going to happen to them out there.
Right.
And like Sun just breaks my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Staring after Jin. Ugh, it's just so sad.
Yeah, and the way Vincent tries to swim after Walt and he's yelling at him to go back.
Yeah. It's
just, and like you said, the music is just so good. It's so incredible. It's almost too good.
This is my favorite scene in the episode.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love that one with Sawyer and Jack, but this is just, it's so epic.
It is.
I love it.
It is. It's an iconic scene for Lost, I feel like. The launching of the raft. It's a big deal.
Definitely iconic.
Yeah.
You're right. So great.
I know.
Dang. And that's the end of part 1. Boom.
So good.
So good.
Yeah. Just brilliant writing throughout the whole thing. I think you said this earlier. All the characters, everyone's so in character throughout this entire episode.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It really is. And I feel like the only thematic question we could possibly have for this is, should they leave the island? I feel like that's the question, like, we're hung on at the very end of this episode. Like, is this good or is this bad?
Yeah.
You know? And it's just, it's hard to decide because everyone's so excited. But at the same time, I feel like we're getting all these flashbacks for a reason. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they're there to remind us where we started, how much these characters have changed and grown over the course of this season. Kate was a loner and a criminal, and now she's involved in everything, helping everybody. Shannon was selfish and horrible and rude, and now she's compassionate and she takes care of herself. Michael and Walt couldn't get along to save their life. Walt wouldn't even recognize him as his father. And now here they are, like, on the raft working together. Sawyer has become a part of the community. He's even helping Jack.
Yeah.
Sun and Jin are in love again, and they remember why they're together. And that's, like, the most important thing. So it just feels like everyone's life is better for being here. So should we be excited about them leaving, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if I would say everyone's life is better for them being on the island, but they're definitely found, like, the best version of themselves.
Yeah.
So
that's a better way of phrasing it, because you're right. Like, I don't think Shannon would say her life is better now.
Yeah, or Claire, or Boone, who's dead, but, you know.
Claire might, she's got her kid now.
That's true, I guess.
But yeah, Boone definitely would not say that his life is better.
Yeah, it's good. When you said that, it makes me think that, like, I feel like one of the reasons why this episode is so strong is all of the careful character work they've done throughout this whole season. Yeah. So it's almost like this episode is such a triumph because, like, they've succeeded in doing all that careful work, you know, throughout this whole season, which I guess is common with a lot of television series finales. Like, if they've done the work throughout the whole season, then the ending is going to be great. If they haven't, then it's not going to be so good.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's so true. It is. It feels like the culmination of what we've been building the whole season.
Yeah. I like your theme better, what you said about them leaving the island. I feel like by the time I got to the end of this episode, I was so emotionally
broken.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I just need to take a few minutes to myself and think about what I just watched. But, I mean, the only thing I really came up with was just saying goodbye.
Aww.
Because that's kind of all over this episode. With the launching of the raft it's significant. It's like this raft launching from the island is going to start a series of events that's going to affect the rest of Lost. Mm-hmm. So, and it's like everyone's finding time to say goodbye to the people they form these relationships with. And
saying goodbye is what brought Sun and Jin back together.
Right, exactly. It's what made Sawyer tell Jack about that meeting he had with his dad. Yeah, it's like the show seems to be saying, you know, tell people the important things you need to tell them before it's too late and you missed your opportunity.
Right, yeah. Because Christian did miss his opportunity with Jack. He's lucky Sawyer was around to save the day.
You're going to have to remind me of this version of Sawyer when he does things later on that I'm not a fan of.
I will. I'll remind you all the time.
Great.
And then I'll remind you that you asked me to remind you.
Okay, perfect.
So, yeah, awesome start to the finale. And we're only a third of the way through.
Yeah. This episode, I have nothing bad to say about this episode.
Nope.
It's exceptional.
A++.
Yes, definitely.
Total agreement. Alrighty, that will do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, please get in touch with us with your feedback. Email us at frecklesandblondie@thelostpodcast.com or find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're in all those places. We love your thoughtful questions and comments. And we have a new way for you to get in touch with us. I set up a voicemail account, so if you guys want to call and leave us a message, it will go straight to voicemail. I promise we won't awkwardly answer. But you can call, and we would love for you to call and give us your feedback on season 1. And I think it would be really great if for our season 1 wrap-up episode, we had some listener comments that we could include in the show and you guys could hear it. So our phone number is the most Lost-terrific phone number that I could create, you guys. I spent probably too much time playing with numbers.
That's awesome.
But our phone number is officially 484-416-LOST. Boom.
Amazing.
I was pretty proud.
It's perfect. But yeah, you guys should call in. Give us your opinions. Tell us what your favorite episodes were. Tell us your opinions on Jack and Sawyer. Tell us anything you want about the first season.
Yeah, like, if you guys have, like, a theme for season 1,
yeah,
I would love to know what you guys think the theme was
Same.
for, like, the overall season. That would be really interesting to hear.
Definitely.
If you guys are enjoying the show, please consider doing a little to support it by heading over to iTunes to rate, review, subscribe to us there. iTunes is kind of all that matters in podcast land, unfortunately. So even if you're like me and you're not an Apple person, it would mean the world to us if you hopped onto iTunes real quick. You can also donate $1 a month or whatever you can afford through our Patreon page. And we're getting very excited to start some live chats where we can all sit down and watch Lost together.
Yeah.
We got your feedback from last week, and it was a resounding, watch Lost, not other stuff, please. So, we get it, we hear you, we will not watch other things.
Already done. Good to know.
It has been decreed. But we will make that happen when we reach our first Patreon goal, and we're getting really close. We upped it a little bit more this week. So if you're not a Patreon supporter yet, go check it out.
Yes, please.
If anyone can, like, figure out what I'm saying after all this, I'll be really impressed. But one last thing before we go. Speaking of Patreon supporters, we have to make a special shout out to Michael, who recently joined the ranks of Patreons who are donating $5 or more. So he is now an official Drive Shaft bandmate.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Michael.
Kudos to you. You are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And we should also mention the wonderful Robin, who has maintained the highest rank of Patreon donators of Dharma Initiative member. And she has been one since the very beginning. So thank you, Robin. And part of your reward is a snazzy Sawyer style nickname. So you will now be known as Tweets, because apparently I'm not very good at naming stuff like Sawyer is.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Robin.
Thanks, Tweets. We're grateful. All right. Enough of all that stuff. Next week, we will be doing our best to not make a 2-hour episode on Exodus Part 2. But it is a 2-hour finale, so it could be very hard.
Yeah, no promises with that one. I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss.
Yeah, we'll try. We'll try not to talk your ear off, and hopefully my voice will be back, because I don't know if I can do this for twice as long. Yeah. But until then, I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Randy.
And this has been Freckles and Blondie.